Hey everyone, welcome back to Tuckaway Pines. In today's video, I want to talk to you about what to do when you have a bully chicken. So if you haven't been following along with us, we do have 4 hens here on the property. I did release a video last summer introducing each one, and I'll have that tagged above so you guys can go check that out as well and meet our girls. But over the winter here, again, this is our first winter with chickens, so we're definitely learning a lot. But this winter we have experienced a bully chicken. I had noticed that one of our chickens was missing feathers at the base of her neck. And I have also noticed that there was some blood spatter within the coop and even out in the run as well. So I had to take some time and do a lot of observation, and I figured out which one was the bully. Now, a few things that do cause this kind of behavior is either a rift in the hierarchy, because chickens do establish their own pecking order, if you will. They each have their own roles in the flock, and they all have, established a hierarchy. But with it being in the winter months, I'm pretty sure it is due to just pure boredom. Chickens can get bored. They are very active animals, and they do like to stay busy. They're very curious and like to forage and explore. So being cooped up in this run all winter long, I can imagine can kind of get some feathers ruffled. So to kind of counter-react a lot of that boredom, I would spread their food around the floor of the run here. That way they could spend time kind of foraging for their food instead of just having to pick it out a set tray in one location. And then I would frequently bring out heads of cabbage and hang it from the ceiling in here, and that way they can kind of spend some time pecking at it and playing around and things like that. But again, there was still a lot of friction between the bully chicken and the poor little victim. So finally I had to reach out to my good friend, who I call the chicken lady. She is the one who gave me these chickens, and she has been guiding me and helping me and educating me through this journey of raising our own chickens. So she had said that I had to take the bully chicken and put her in a timeout, and that is exactly what I did. And I'll show you how I have it all set up in there for her. But everything is fine. She is safe, she's good, she's cared for, warm and dry, but she is just separate from the rest of the girls. And you want to do this because it, again, separates her from the rest of the group. And without her being in that group, the other 3 chickens will have time to reestablish a new pecking order, reestablish some roles, and start, integrating that one that was being picked on back into the reins of things, back in line. And I am keeping the bully chicken in timeout for about 2 weeks. You want to have her in timeout for a few weeks or so. At least that gives the girls enough time to reestablish their new pecking order. But then you also want to give that bully chicken enough time to realize that maybe what she's doing isn't right. So I'm gonna turn the camera around. We're gonna go inside the run here, visit the ladies, and I'll show you my little timeout pen for the bully chicken. Okay, let me preface this. We are in mid-March, and we are currently in the middle of a major snowstorm, so excuse all the snow, but this isn't a pretty perfect chicken coop, okay? This is our first year with chickens. Like I said before, we are still learning, but the reality of things here on the homestead, and I'm pretty sure most people can relate, but nothing here is like Pinterest perfect. So just so you know, things aren't going to be as pretty as maybe one would expect or hope to see. So, little disclaimer there. Hi, ladies. Alrighty, so here we are inside the run, and this is the main coop where the majority of the girls spend their nights sleeping safe and warm. But then right over here, I have my little separate pen where I keep our bully chicken. You can kind of see it's a little rigged up, kind of funny, but The tarp, you could see, is keeping her nice and dry. Again, there is a lot of high winds and snow flying around currently. But she's got some nice roosting bars in there so she can perch up at night. And we do have a little nesting box set up in there for her. We have a nice feeding tray, a water bowl, and again, it is butted up against our big water barrel. And I do have a video out on our water barrel if you guys are interested on how we set that up. I will tag that above as well if you're curious on checking that out. Like I said before, I know it's not super pretty, but it's definitely functional, at least for us for the time being. And it has kept her at bay in her own little zone. Again, she is nice and safe in here. She's got proper food, water, ample bedding, and nice roost bars to perch up at night. But talk to you a little bit more about how I constructed this, just using the materials that we had on hand, because again, I wasn't expecting this kind of behavior to come about, and I didn't want to risk putting it off any longer and jeopardizing the life of one of my chickens. Because if I would have just let this behavior continue, the bully would have definitely just pecked the victim to death, unfortunately. That's just the reality of things out here. Chickens are super cute and fun to watch and have, but they are creatures. They are wild animals at heart, and they are pretty ruthless. So definitely want to be in control when you are raising your own livestock like this. Materials I did use for this setup here were things, again, I had on hand. The majority of it is actually the run that came with the little coop house that we have here. We didn't need the run for the coop because, again, it is inside this large kennel that we have had, and we just kind of put the coop inside here and it's worked fine. So I did keep the little run just in case. It was good material to have on hand regardless, and it came in perfectly. It fit in here nicely. I was able to snug it up in the side here where the other chickens could still have room to mill around and where they're not all bunched up either. So, and the bully chicken here, she's got plenty of room to kind of mill around. I know it's not a lot of room, maybe not the space that she would want, but it is good enough to remind her that she is in timeout. So that is made primarily with the run, but there was an open space here where she could escape. So I had a little door that also came off the chicken coop here that we didn't need. And I just kind of propped that up there, used some bungee cords to keep it at bay. And again, because we have open spots here, with wind, snow could fly in, and I just didn't want her to get rained on all the time. Poor thing. I mean, she is in timeout, but I don't want anything bad to happen to her. So I did put a tarp above it and have it draped behind her, so she is shielded pretty well outside of the wind. So I know it might not look pretty and it might seem a little barbaric, but she is totally 100% fine. And she does have access to plenty of water from the water barrel here, and I do have a separate bowl in there for her that I come out here multiple times a day and just make sure it's not frozen or it's not all spilt all over the place. So those are the steps that I have taken to combat my bully chicken and to stop that behavior right away, because it'll just snowball into something so much worse, so much more aggressive, and even something that could potentially end fatally for one of the chickens. And we don't want that here. We don't want anything to suffer or be tortured or, you know, have to go through anything like that. So that's the steps that I'm taking to ensure that my bully chicken can check herself and not continue this behavior. Now, as for the victim chicken, she is doing very well. I can tell that her morale has picked up. She is moving around the coop, the run, a little more freely. You can see she's got a little more confidence. Her head is being held up a little higher each day. So I am very happy to see that. I even notice more feathers growing back. So there are some baby feathers coming in, because I was definitely afraid that there was just so much aggressive damage that maybe the feathers wouldn't grow back. It was right at the back of her neck and base of her shoulders there. So, but she is growing them back. And that is another thing I want to throw out too, is that because of the situation, I have been increasing treats for the good girls. The bully does get a little bit. I don't want her to feel totally left out or neglected, but she doesn't get a lot of them compared to the other girls. So, but not only the treats, but protein to help produce good feather growth and healthy feather growth. You want to increase the protein intake, and we do have a good high protein feed that we do give them, but every now and again, about once a week, I do give them some scrambled eggs. I know that could be a little controversy, but that's for a whole nother video if you guys want to discuss that. But I have noticed exceptional feather growth, so I'm just going to stick to it, and I don't do it very often. Like I said, once a week, and it's always scrambled. So that is how I am combating my bully chicken. I know it's something that a lot of people might not think would happen when owning or raising your own chickens, but it's definitely something that can occur. And it's always a good thing to stay on top of that stuff because you don't want it to end badly for someone. So thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, let me know if you guys encountered anything like this in your flock. What did you guys do to, combat it and stop that behavior right away? I'm very curious if there's other methods or tips or tricks out there. And don't forget to subscribe because I plan on releasing a video out here soon where I discuss our very first winter and all the things besides this that we've learned and encountered when having chickens for our very first winter. Alrighty guys, thanks again. Bye.